So 2023 is officially over and hello 2024, but this is the current table. Liverpool at top, Villa in second, City in third and Arsenal in fourth, but City only 2 points behind Liverpool, and if they win their game in hand over Aston Villa will go second on 43 points. Arsenal dropping from first to fourth in the space of 3 days. Tottenham only a point behind as well, but I would not write Tottenham out of the title race. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the Premier League title race with particular focus on Liverpool and Manchester City. It feels like those two inevitably could be going head-to-head for the title, with Arsenal losing 2 games in a row, but I wouldn't write off Arsenal just yet. They've got the quality to compete. It's just, do they have the bottle? They're going to have Yuri and Timber coming back from loan. They could do something in January. I wouldn't even write off Spurs, and people might laugh at me for saying that, because when people talk about the title race, they don't include Spurs in that, because Spurs are Spurs, yeah. But they've got Bentancur just coming back, Kulu, unreal player, Son, unreal player, Maddison's coming back, Mickey van der Ven's coming back, and he was arguably best centre-back in the league before his injury. Andrew's cooking. They're likely to bring in a centre-back. They might bring in that Jota guy. They're looking at Conor Gallagher. And I always say, right now, every single team is quite not at it. Like, Liverpool are good, but this is the start of their second rebuild. This is the start of Liverpool's new era. They're only going to get better. Arsenal are good, but they're not as free-flowing as they were at bits of last season. Martinelli's not getting the goals. Saka's been hit and miss. Man City are good, but Man City, you can beat them this year. Last year, you felt like you couldn't beat them. So that's why I say don't even rule out Tottenham. Don't even rule out Aston Villa. Well, we're going to speak about Liverpool and then we're going to speak about Manchester City. Do not rule out the other sides. Do not even say, Arsenal in a crisis because they've lost 2 games. For me, whoever can just get a run of games going, a run of wins, a winning streak will win the league. And Liverpool have the quality to do that. Arsenal have the quality to do that. City have the quality to do that. And City are most likely to do that because they seem to always turn it on just after Christmas. Is that me? There was times when Arsenal last season top of the table. A couple of seasons ago, Liverpool have been top of the table. City just turn it on after Christmas. I feel like City are most likely to do that, which ultimately puts them favourites. But Liverpool are top. Liverpool have looked very convincing in the big games. And we know Liverpool can go toe-to-toe and compete with Manchester City. I will say this, because Man City always seems to sort of turn it on after Christmas, in my opinion, they always seem to get better. For me, if I'm Liverpool, I'd be annoyed that I didn't take advantage of maybe getting a 6-7 point gap over City, because unless you've got at least 10 points over City at the halfway point, you almost feel like City will catch them. So that's why I think Liverpool and City, the favourites, and Arsenal are up there, but I wouldn't rule out Aston Villa, I wouldn't rule out Tottenham, because I think it's about January investment. I said this 2 seasons ago when United had Rangnick and United, Arsenal and Tottenham were competing for top 4, and then ultimately it was Arsenal, Tottenham competing for top 4, and I think Tottenham had that January investment of, was it Bentancur and Kulu, and that got Tottenham over the line to 4th. I think if someone invests well in January, that can get them over the line. I think injuries can get teams over the line, but I do think Liverpool and City are the favourites, which is the worst case scenario as a United fan, because that's Liverpool matching 20 titles, that is City 4-peat, which is 2 records of ours essentially. But we've got to talk about it. I want to talk about Liverpool, and then I want to talk about Manchester City, De Bruyne coming back, what that might mean. And then we'll speak about other sides, because I've been waffling for 3 minutes. So, starting with Liverpool, ultimately Liverpool have Salah, Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, 3 world-class players, 3 of the best players in the world in those positions that have the experience of winning titles. And even though Liverpool's got this new team, this new rebuild, they've still got that experience. You've got Trent in there, you've got Robbo coming back as well. Those players that know how to win a title, that know how to win a Champions League, that know how to compete there. I look at Liverpool, Jota coming back in. Jota is an unbelievable player. He just is inconsistent in the sense of he can't stay fit. If Jota can stay fit, in terms of his ability to finish, which I think is where Diaz has struggled, where Nunez has struggled, where Gakpo has struggled, Liverpool have had chances, they've not put it away. Jota has the ability to get 20 goals across all comps, not the Premier League, but across all comps, because he can finish. He came on, for 5-10 minutes the other day? What's he do? Score. Do you know what I mean? Instant impact. Jota has the ability to play in the middle, has the ability to play off the left, he can even play off the right. He's got the versatility. I actually think Gakpo is better off the left-hand side, so you could play Jota in the middle, Gakpo off the left, Salah on the right. If Nunez ain't firing, or you've got Nuno in the middle, you've got Diaz or Jota on the left-hand side, or Gakpo on the left-hand side, all 3 good options. We know Diaz is a quality player, but he's had a lot of issues this season, and I think with the whole family thing, fair enough. We know Gakpo can get unreal numbers, and I think Klopp's not using Gakpo to his best role, and I think if we saw Gakpo on the left, I think he would get better. And do I need to speak about what Salah can do? I feel like Salah has dropped off a bit this season, but he's still putting up unreal numbers. He's still a game winner. Salah's that guy, and this is what I think Liverpool have got over Arsenal. is Saka's a good player, Martinelli's a good player having a poor season, and Jesus is a good player, but they don't have a Salah. Salah's that guy that can get you 20, 30 goals a season. That guy that could do nothing and have a poor game, but boom, he scored the winner. Boom, Salah goal. Salah goal out of nowhere. He's got that kind of Bruno Fernandes in him. Do you know what I mean? They can sometimes have a game where they're a bit, but they've got that quality to, in a game where it feels like nothing's going to happen, winner. And that's what I think Arsenal lack. So Liverpool have a good attack, and I will say this. Darwin Núñez is a good player, but he seems to only score when he's offside, or seems to only hit the time when he's offside. If Darwin Núñez gets confidence, because I think with strikers, confidence is such a thing, and Darwin Núñez starts finishing his chances, gets a bit of confidence in him, and goes on a scoring streak, Liverpool have got this. Generally think that Liverpool's defensive midfield has been so solid this season. Van Dijk is back to his best. Trent's been phenomenal. Konate, wow. Even that big game against Arsenal, Konate was brilliant. Alisson, best keeper in the world. Endo really stepping up. Endo really impressive. Big game versus Arsenal, didn't put foot wrong. Brilliant Endo. Last 3-4 games, Endo good. Got McAllister to come back in, Thiago to come back in, Beatic to come back in. Harvey Elliott's been great off the bench this season. Curtis Jones just showed his quality. I haven't even seen the best of Gravenberch. Szoboszlai showed his quality early on. Liverpool's midfield's been solid. Liverpool's defence has been solid. They've got an advantage over everyone else, where I think Liverpool almost have the most midfield options, and then they can do things like bring Gakpo into midfield, push Trent into midfield. Klopp can change his midfield 3-4 times a game, and I always say games are won and lost in midfield, and Klopp can make these tactical substitutions to change games, which is ultimately giving Liverpool a bit of an advantage, because how many times have Liverpool been 1-0 down, 2-1 down, won the game? Fulham, Crystal Palace, won the game, clutch moments. Behind versus City, got an equaliser at the Etihad in a 6-pointer. City would be top of the league if it wasn't for that. All those kind of things. Liverpool have got it. They're defensively solid. Their midfield is great. They've got Klopp, who's a fantastic manager, who's, at the start of a second rebuild, and no one thought Liverpool would be in a title race. Has got them top of the league at the end of the year, which is massive. And he's got all these options of good players, and so many options in midfield where he can adapt to the game state, which I think gives Liverpool an advantage. But I think their one issue is Gakpo just hasn't been quite firing. Núñez hasn't been quite firing. They need their striker to fire, because Erling Haaland will fire. And when Kevin De Bruyne comes back, Erling Haaland's going to have chances on a plate. And this is when we get into Man City. And this is why we can't rule out Man City. They get this momentum after Xmas. In a weird way, unless you're 10 points clear of Manchester City, it almost feels like they're always favourites, because how many times have they got a run going? How many times have they got a run going where they beat every single small side? You've seen Liverpool drop points to Luton. We've seen Arsenal drop points to West Ham and now Fulham. And Man City, once they get clicking, once they get going, they don't drop points for 20 games in a row, 20 wins in a row. And to win the title these days, you have to do that. Can Liverpool do that? They're a very good squad. I think they can do that, but the expectation shouldn't be on them to do that quite yet and get 97 points like they have in the past, because this is the start of their second rebuild. Could Arsenal do that? It's a big ask of them, and they almost don't look as good as they did last season. But they still got Declan Rice, who's a phenomenal player. They've got Dewey and Timber to come back in. They've got Saliba. But Man City, we know, can do that. And I think Man City have dropped off because of their midfield. Gundogan was massive. They lost him. Kovacic hasn't stepped up. Do you know what I mean? Phil Foden's gone in that 10 role, looked really good lately. We're almost seeing the Phil Foden that's been hyped. And I've always said with Phil Foden, he's got all this hype, but we see it here and there. Recently, we've seen that Phil Foden. Will De Bruyne come back, disrupt that momentum? Potentially. But you've got Phil Foden coming out of Shell being his best. They've got a very good squad with very good depth. They've got lots of quality players. We know what Man City can do. But what I think has meant they weren't as good as they were last season was, one, I almost felt like because City had won the treble, these games at the beginning of the season had less meaning. These games at the end of the season have more meaning for Man City. These wins are bigger now. And I feel like they rise to the big occasions. It's almost like they're bored of the small games because they've won it all. Sounds weird, but I was watching, I think, Gary Neville or someone saying something about how you kind of felt after winning the treble. You've also got the fact that De Bruyne is coming back. They didn't have Gundogan, they didn't have De Bruyne. Two people that started nearly every game in their treble win. De Bruyne is coming back. De Bruyne is in that Zinedine Zidane-esque bracket. De Bruyne is in that Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard bracket, even though he's more attacking. De Bruyne is in the top 10 midfielders to play the game. Top 10 midfielders to ever play the game. Saying this as a United fan, De Bruyne is there. And when a player like De Bruyne comes back and you're only 2 points off top, and this is at a season when no one really thought Liverpool would win the league because this was the start of their second rebuild. Klopp's completely changed the midfield. If you're City, you're licking your lips. We're only 2 points off. We know we go on a run. We know we get better after Christmas. De Bruyne is coming back into this. We haven't started clicking, but when we start clicking, we know what we can do. And that is a City 4P. And I think that's why City are weirdly the favourites, because Arsenal were top this time last year. Liverpool have been top before, and City have gone on that run to win it. I think City have it. Sometimes I think, do Arsenal have the bottle? Sometimes I think, do Liverpool have the quality? And while I think Liverpool have a very good squad, do I think City have a better squad than Liverpool on paper? Yes. Do I think that, Liverpool, I think are so early in their rebuild that I'm actually quite surprised they're top of the league? Yes. But as Liverpool probably deserve to be top of the league? Yes. Liverpool have been the best team. Arsenal have been phenomenal other than the last 2 games, which I think is a blip. And I wouldn't rule Arsenal out just because they've lost 2 games in a row. I think there's something Tottenham Hotspur could show you a bit more. I think people were writing them off too early. They're only 1 point behind Arsenal, and they've had more injuries than anyone. And of course, Aston Villa. What job Unai Emery's doing. We've seen Leicester win it. There's Man United. No, I'm joking. But yeah, do not write off City. Do not write off any of them. And I think, even as a neutral, as much as I don't want a City Liverpool to compete for the title, the fact that I've listed 5 teams there that could all actually challenge for the title, 5 teams all within about 3-4 points of each other at the end of the year. Maybe City will be 10 points clear in March because that's what City do, and the other teams drop points, and a lot of teams are dropping points. It feels like, anyone could win the league if they take advantage of this. But I think it's going to be a very exciting title race. Smash the like, smash the subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.